So we're here today with Mr. Doug Stiles, and we're at Mobius Bioenergy, and this is one of the most amazing energy wellness centers on the planet. We're very lucky because we have Doug here in beautiful Richmond, Virginia. Doug, thank you for your time today. How you doing?
Feeling great, smoothed out in the room.
This is the
Very
EE.
calm.
Yeah, very calm. It's just such an amazing environment. And for anybody that's not familiar, this is basically an EE system. And in addition to the EE system, there's other crystals and sound bowl, and there's other things that are here. But Doug, to start off, do you want to talk a little bit about the EE system, what it is, and kind of how it works?
Sure. So there's a couple of different components behind the EE system that create a couple of different types of energy fields. So we have these towers that you're seeing in the corner of the room. And on those towers are the colorful screens with the crazy lights that you see at different speeds. And then behind those screens are these little black boxes, which are the field engine generators. So the engine generators create a type of field that's referred to in quantum physics as a scalar field. And that scalar field moves faster than the speed of light. And it creates coherence and order in the body. Because normally when we're out in this world, we're in a very toxic and radioactive environment. Not only do we have toxins in our food, in our water, in the air, but we also have a lot of radiation. 5G technology, microwave towers. We have satellites beaming that onto us. So our bodies are in a constant state of compensation. They're trying to counterbalance what's happening to itself on a daily basis. So our bodies don't have the energy and resources left to rejuvenate, because we are amazingly designed beings. We're designed to be completely self-healing. We actually have self-healing and abilities way beyond what we can even understand. We've just been conditioned and told that we're basically powerless and we need to rely on doctors and men in white coats for the answers. When there are a whole bunch of other ways for you to experience holistic health. So the purpose behind the technology is so that your original blueprint, let's say, in your DNA, your cells contain all the information that it needs to regenerate and rejuvenate. It's just that the body is not in the right supportive environment. So if we think of everything like Nikola Tesla said in terms of vibration and frequency, when the body is in an energy field that is supportive, then it has the ability to heal itself, and to rejuvenate, and even reverse aging, because we're designed to do that. But when you're in this toxic environment that we are on a 24/7 basis, it's kind of like fish in a fish tank. And the fish are making it, they're not doing so well, they don't have a whole lot of energy, they have a lot of anxiety, and the water is dirty. All you have to do is change the water to nice clean water and the fish can thrive. Good food, clean water, and a supportive environment. So the technology creates a type of energetic environment that when you are in the room, that you start to align with that environment, and your body goes into your body has a very spiritual, physical, self-healing capability. It has inherent wisdom. And when it's in a supportive resonant field, we call it resonance. your body shifts into a self-healing process that is unique for each and every person. So the technology is designed to bring homeostasis and balance back to the body, and when the body is back in that place of balance, it can heal from anything and everything. And those are the words of the inventor, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. And you know, we witness it on a daily basis. So the back to the towers, when you a lot of it, you know, when you're here, you can actually feel it. It immediately puts you at ease and relaxes the body. There's a natural timing pulse that the Earth has called the Schumann resonance, which is about 7.83 or so cycles per second. And when we're barefoot, let's say you spend a day at the beach, your body rejuvenates and you feel like $1 million after you take that shower when you get home and you just slip into a beautiful sleep that night. That's because we've gone back into synchronization with the timing pulse of the Earth, which also happens to be our own timing pulse. So one of the frequencies of the technology is that timing pulse. And then the black box that I started talking about behind the screens are the field engine generators, and that creates a type of a field that moves faster than the speed of light, and that's referred to in quantum physics as a scalar field. And a scalar field, our cells, when our cells communicate, they communicate through light. So if you think again of our cells as energy, frequency, vibration, we are also very much light beings. So our cells communicate through what's called biophotons, which is basically a weak emission, a signal that delivers all kinds of processes at like 100,000 in a second. It's how cells communicate. And through that communication, they produce amino acids and signal the processes of the body. So it might be sending energy to your kidneys or your lungs, rebuilding a part of the body, detoxing, right? Detoxification. That all happens through this light signaling. So the scalar field, a lot of the times that signaling, when we're in a non-supportive environment, gets distorted. And the scalar field creates coherence and order. So if you picture yourself on a dance floor where you're trying to yell to the person across the floor, and they can't understand what you're saying, it's the same thing that happens with our cells. So this brings order, coherence, and clarity back to that cell signaling. And the other important component about the energy enhancement system is the colored screens that you see. So again, referring to this as biophotons, the screens relate directly to the way that the cells create what's called replication patterns. Our cells, in addition to being energy, frequency, vibration, light, we are also very electrical. We know that the heart has an electromagnetic field, right? And the body has an electromagnetic field that's often referred to as your aura or your biofield. The cells also are like little alkaline batteries. They actually have a millivoltage charge. So in science, it's known that a healthy cell is about 70 to 90, even sometimes 100 millivolts. And a body that is diseased, is going through some type of illness, let's say, has a low charge. Cancer can't even begin to grow unless the cell's at negative 20, let's say, millivolts. So the colored screens that you see, the biophotons, the towers are directly aligned to each other, and they're aligned within 1/100th of an inch. So when the energy coming from those screens meets in the middle of the room, they create what's called an implosion of energy, creating an energy field that helps to charge the cells. And when those cells are charged, then the cells can do a couple of different things. They can start to split, which is called mitosis. So old cells can be released. They can release also, they can detoxify, because cells will hold on to toxins so not to overwhelm the body. So the cells can finally now clean house. They can release what they've been holding on to. They can now split and regenerate the body, rebuild the body, and bring the body back into balance. So you'll see the screens are moving at various speeds, and those speeds change, and the direction of the screens changed as well. It's a specific sequence called the Fibonacci sequence that's programmed into the technology. And that sequence is just simply a very basic sequence of nature. It's a numerical sequence that is the pattern of everything in our organic world, everything in nature that you see in the physical realm. So the biophoton part of this technology helps the cells helps charge the cells, supports the replication patterns of the cells, and also creates a process that releases active hydrogen, and that releasing of hydrogen helps to repair the DNA. Again, when you're out in this crazy world, there's a lot of splitting apart and breaking of the DNA that happens through toxification. And the energy enhancement system catalyzes the body's own healing process to help to repair those breaks and bonds, kind of zip the DNA back up, and to repair all the fissures and bring fusion back into the body. Kind of like when a computer defragments. It's bringing everything back into wholeness and unity. So the technology helps people, basically the reflection of how powerful our bodies are, how miraculous they are at healing. It brings you back to a place of knowingness of that empowerment as self-healing bodies. And that happens energetically, spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally. People have incredible experiences in the room, very personal and different from person to person. So that's a basic understanding of the very advanced kind of quantum physics that's behind the technology.
That's actually just absolutely so beautiful and such great information. And, you know, I was actually very lucky because I got to meet Dr. Sandra, and we were down at a facility that was doing a grand opening, and I was able to spend quite a bit of time with her. And this technology has so many benefits. It's actually very difficult. I mean, you've done a very eloquent job of putting all that out there. It also creates an energy field that goes out and around the center. I believe it's 2 miles. Is that correct? Where the energy coming from this room literally goes out in all directions about 2 miles and creates a very harmonious atmosphere for anybody that's blessed and lucky enough to be around this. And I would say that the words recalibrate, regenerate, and rejuvenate are words that are also what's happening within the body when you're in this field and when you're in this room. It's just such an amazing experience.
So the premise is, and that's exactly right, a portion of the field, which is the scalar field created by the black boxes behind the colored screens. The scalar field that I was talking about is projected in a radius of about 2.2 miles, and that's the minimum. There are some scientists that say that field it goes even farther than that. But you really have to be in the room to get the biophotonic benefits and the other pulse frequencies that is part of the technology. So the recalibration is important. The inventor wanted to reactivate what we call the God codes or source codes from within the DNA. Because even though we have everything we need from inside us and don't need any of this around us, eventually we won't need the energy enhancement system. When our DNA, a lot of what's lying dormant that a lot of scientists refer to as junk DNA, as we're going through the process of evolution, in this lifetime that we're here on this planet, those dormant parts of the DNA will start to reconnect as we're ready to do that. If they reconnected all at once, we would probably just explode into light. So it has to happen layer by layer, and when we're energetically ready for it. And when those things connect, we will be able to maybe even grow back a hand that was, let's say we lost a hand. The body is capable of really everything that we see in nature. We can always look to nature. We see a caterpillar turn into a butterfly. And if that's something that we see in nature, it absolutely applies to us as humans. There's so much more about ourselves we don't understand that is unfolding for us. And I believe that this technology is really some of the most advanced scientific technology that we have to help remind us of how powerful we are and how powerful our bodies are.
It's really amazing. And you touched on, the biophotonic, the photon light energy and frequency coming from the TV sets. And if I'm not mistaken, there's also lasers coming from four corners of the room that when those lasers hit and collide, it creates, this massive scalar field. And when you're in the room, you're in the 0 point, right? So you're in the heart of the field. And there's so many different things that can happen with the body. Now, the body, when it's going through that rejuvenation process, for every person, it's different, like you said. So, and I've been blessed to have been here before. I've done overnight stay here, which was phenomenal. And we were just talking earlier where there was some people that came in that said, I'm going to read some books and hang out. But within a very short period of time, they fell asleep and were actually sleeping because the body is doing so much work and it's getting those essential frequencies and nutrients into the body from a biological perspective for cellular rejuvenation, that the body's saying, okay, we're going to use that energy now to recharge and energize. And the effects are basically shutting down a little bit more of your conscious awakening energy and saying, let's rechannel that into rejuvenation. Absolutely. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's interesting. We have been conditioned from a very early age to be distracted continuously. I'm guilty of that myself, looking down at the phone all the time, looking up at the computer, being at the computer for hours. A huge secret is that if we close our eyes, and we were always taught, how to meditate, close your eyes. Basically, meditation is nothing more than coming into yourself, coming back into focus. You can meditate when you're walking. You can meditate when you're running. You're just coming back into the present moment, being fully present with yourself. So what we're not taught, we're taught how to be distracted. And in a way that keeps us completely separated from ourselves, because we're always engaged on the outer world, and we identify everything by the outer world. But there's much more to us than the physical realm that you see and the solid table, this chair, this carpets, the physical room that we're in. Even if we don't understand what that is, we'll be discovering it bit by bit. When you close your eyes, this is one of the biggest secrets, you know. We think when we close our eyes that it's kind of boring and that there's nothing there, and we want to immediately want to be distracted and do something, or that we're wasting our time. But that is one of the most powerful things you can do. Because when your eyes are open, you're focusing 80% of your energy on the outer world. There's part of energy that needs to work on the body, right? The processes of the body. But you simply have just close your eyes and focus that energy inwards, and you'll be surprised how quickly you can connect and that you can receive messages from a higher part of yourself, whether you want to call it your soul, your higher self, a higher consciousness. Really that every single thing you need is from within. There's really nothing that you need to turn to outside of yourself. So when you come into the room, rather than reading a book, some people think, oh, well, I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to have something with me or my phone or whatever. I just didn't know what I was going to do for 2 hours. Do I stare at the towers? And I always say, you know, you can stare at them for a little bit because they're kind of fun and interesting, like an art sculpture almost. And then you're going to just settle in and close your eyes. And when you do that, you go into a very powerful self-healing time for yourself. And eventually you just kind of drift off, fall asleep. People were like, well, I'm not going to fall asleep. There's no way. I never fall asleep on trains or buses or anything. And then I check in the room on them 10 minutes later and they're out like a light. You know, our typical sessions, you know, our first sessions are a couple of hours, but people are like, I don't know how I'm going to sit still for 2 hours. Well, they're immediately calmed and immediately go into a very nurtured state of self-healing and well-beingness. It's hard to describe. It's something you just have to experience.
And Doug, you know, I'm just going back to some stuff we talked about earlier. You know, you talked about the energy of the cell, and the cells themselves are like little mini batteries. And do you want to talk a little bit also about how being in this EE system recharges and energizes the cells like little batteries where, you know, like we were talking earlier about how the cells that you don't want in the body vibrate at a very low frequency. And obviously when you're in a scalar field, you're at a much higher healthy frequency, this frequency that the cells just absolutely dance and sing to. But let's talk a little bit about how the cells are also little energy batteries and how this charges those.
Yeah, exactly. So Sean, your cells are like mini alkaline batteries. And as you know, you have, or you might not know, your body has trillions of cells. And those cells go through a dividing process called mitosis, where they split and then the dead cells are released. But a lot of the times, when those mini batteries don't have enough charge, they aren't able to release toxins and they aren't able to split and rejuvenate the body. So the biophotonic aspect of this energy enhancement system technology creates a field through the implosion in the center of the room, the biophotonic or light implosion, that creates a very specific cell signaling that helps to charge the cells of the body. And one of the first things that happens when those little alkaline batteries get charged, when your cells are charged and juicy and happy, then they can start to let go of toxins in a way that won't inundate the body. And also, what it helps to do when the cells are charged is it helps to create, lost my train of thought, so.
Oh, you're good.
Just give me a second here.
Yep.
I can back up.
No, you're fine. So one of the other things too, if I remember correctly from spending time with Dr. Sandra, was that it helps regrow the telomeres. And so technically there is, it's like we were talking about earlier, it gets into rejuvenation. It gets into, basically giving the body the energy fields that the body just craves to just, get into an environment where everything can be restored back to homeostasis. And one of those things is, giving energy and support to the telomeres, which basically, when those start becoming degraded, it speeds up the aging process. But this actually has the opposite effect, where it starts regrowing the telomeres and actually slowing down or possibly we could say reversing the aging process. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So our DNA, as you know, is like a double helix. It's like an X almost. And on the ends of the chromosomes are these little caps, kind of like a cap on a shoelace, the little plastic cap at the end that keeps the shoelace from fraying is called a telomere. And scientists have shown that the telomeres over time in your lifetime start to shorten. And scientific research that's documented on EE Systems website, there's some wonderful organized research on eesystem.com's website that outlines the studies that have been done about the lengthening of telomeres by the EE system. So just like you said, Sean, that in effect helps to rejuvenate the body and lengthen your lifespan according to science. We just don't want to live longer lives. We want to live healthy, vibrant lives for as long as that may be. We don't want to be ill and in an assisted living facility and just, hanging out for 30 years, just dependent on, pharmaceuticals and,
Doug,
machines to keep us alive.
Yes.
And have healthy long lives, not just long lives. And this is just one type of technology, not a silver bullet. It's one type of technology that is available to us to experience radiant, vibrant health.
I think you bring up a really important point, because being in the space of energy, frequency, vibration, Tesla technology, med bed technology, and there's a lot of talk about med beds. And when people contact us and say, well, are there med beds? The quick answer to that is there is energy and frequency based technology right now that is available that you can get into. And I think it's really important that people understand that this is exactly what you just said. It's about staying healthy. It's about maintaining really good health and giving your body everything it needs to stay vibrant, healthy, energized, and living healthy lives. And, if you can just integrate this just like you would anything else into a lifestyle where you find an EE system. Now, once again, if you're in Richmond, Virginia, you're very lucky because Doug is here. If you're in Charlottesville, you're close, all these different areas. But these EE systems have now basically gotten distributed all over the world. So it really doesn't matter where you're watching this video. I'm on Instagram, and I'm networked in with EE centers in Germany, Holland, UK. The knowledge base of this, the phenomenal results. And we're going to talk a little bit, Doug, about some of the things that you've seen here. And there's certainly thousands, if not tens of thousands of documented testimonials from people getting benefits from this type of technology. But, you know, for somebody like myself, who I consider to be in fairly good health, I want to be in here, number one, because it's like a pit stop for my body, where my body says thank you. I'm you know, doing everything I can to maintain and stay in good health. And the other thing I just want to touch on, I'm going to throw it back to you, is that people all the time come to me and say, I want a med bed that'll make me 20 years younger, right? And I always tell people that theoretically those are out there. There's people that I have talked to that have made claims that they're there. I have quite a bit of information on that. However, it does take a toll on your body when you're going through that type of a system. That is used in various programs where they're doing that, and you're sitting in a gel bed for 2 weeks. And years and 10, 20 years later, people that have been through that, it has taken a toll. However, you have a chronological age and you have a biological age. And in this day and age, there's people like me and you, well, especially you, probably more so than myself, but you can be in the body of a 50-year-old and have a biological age of somebody in their 30s. And that's done by maintaining good health, using, you know, technologies that are out there now, eating right, exercising. And so for people that want to cut corners, that want to just jump into some type of chamber for a week and revert back and then come back out and eat Cheetos and drink Coca-Cola and just do the whole thing all over again. There's, you know, if you really want to turn back the biological age of your body, and we were just talking about that with the telomeres. This is technology right now that's available that is very, very helpful, along with the healthy lifestyle, which your body wants to maintain. It's very difficult to come in here and get your body in such a harmonious vibration and feel this and then want to go out and do damage, you know. So you become more conscious of the lifestyle that you're living. Let me get your feedback and your thoughts on that.
Yeah, again, that was very well said, because the technology is part of a holistic approach. People after their session, even their very first session, they just feel so good walking out. They're just like, oh, is this gonna go away? Because right now I feel so good. I just feel so smooth. I feel at peace. Among the other things that are happening inside their bodies, whatever else they receive from the session, how do they maintain that feeling and keep it going is what they want to know. So it's very important that, again, this is not a silver bullet. It's another tool that we can use that is a very powerful one, that reconnects the body and helps the body it catalyzes the body's own inherent self-healing process. So the body continues on after you leave the room. Just like if you went to a gym and you worked out, the muscles are going to continue to heal and work and grow. And it's important to get back to the gym as soon as you can. But it's very important that you try and make those changes that support a healthy lifestyle. And there's a lot of things that you can do very simply. Doesn't mean that your diet's going to be 100% perfect, but you eliminate those things that you know are not healthy for the body, or at least perfectly. But giving yourself the experience that is possible for anybody that comes in here. So that's one of the most wonderful testimonials, and she comes to work bouncing off the walls, with excitement, because she loves what she does. The very first session that she did, after having stopped for 14 years because of everything going on with her physically, she couldn't sleep the night before because she was so excited. So that's Patsy, and you can also, one of the other things, again, it's all about holistic approach. Along with the Energy Enhancement system, we offer other modalities like energy healing. So I myself offer bioenergetic sessions, channeling sessions. So as an intuitive, working with people one-on-one, Patsy is our master reflexologist. We also have an infrared sauna that's great for detoxification. We have, there's some things about cancer that I can't talk about, I don't think.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, I think that
somebody with stage 4 that's their cancer
has left the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we certainly aren't making any claims. However, there is a lot of documentation where there's that type of thing has been seen to happen when in these scalar energy rooms. And actually, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael is actually got quite a bit of documented testimonials from that as well. And there was actually, I believe there was a military general and other people out in Las Vegas that were brought to her because the military knew that she was developing this technology, and she had connections, I believe, within various government organizations where they knew that she was onto something and was working with very powerful technology. So people within high government positions started finding their way to her, and she's got a lot of documentation on that. And so that is definitely something that's been noted and something that has been talked about in many different centers and many different places, and that's always very exciting.
Including the top scientists, some of the top, quantum physics scientists at the Pentagon, NASA, the Tesla Society. There's a lot of scientific research that's been done over the 3 decades that the technology has been out to the public and available to the public.
So, Doug, what about things like, I'm just giving you feedback from stuff that I hear a lot, but what about stiffness, soreness, inflammation? Do you want to talk about just some general things about, things that you've seen regarding that? Because I know for a large population base, that's something that's definitely, popular for symptoms of things that people are dealing with.
Yeah, so one of the first benefits, I guess the best thing is to understand the principle that when the body is relaxed, the body can heal. If you're tense and you're nervous and you're anxious, it's very hard for energy to move through the body and for the healing process to take place in more of an exponential way or more of a resourceful way, utilizing the resources of the body. So one of the first things that happens in the room is the pulse frequencies that allow the body to immediately go into a kind of a brainwave state of coherence that is more aligned with kind of the brainwave length in meditation and also the deeper ones in sleep. So it's more of the delta theta brainwave states. And that immediately helps to relax the body, and then the body can now direct the energy to release the stiffness and the inflammation. Because the inflammation is the #1 cause of pain in the body. It's a response of the body to protect itself. And that's one of the first things the body does is to release the inflammation so that the energy can circulate and get to those parts of the body. And then so the muscles can relax. And then there are other modalities that you can also do with the energy enhancement system, like trigger point, that helps the inflammation and the muscles fully relax.
I think inflammation's a really big one because according to the World Health Organization, the majority, 8 out of 10 or more people that pass away from some type of inflammation-related disease. And so it's the buildup of inflammation that actually can manifest into different things within the body to start breaking the body down. And there's a host of things, including any and all cardiovascular disease, which absolutely starts with the buildup of inflammation. And inflammation is often referred to as the silent killer. And so, people that constantly wake up with a sore back or sore knees or all these issues, and they never seem to go away. And if anything, they get worse. Many times what that is a buildup of inflammation in the body. So when you're using the energy enhancement system and you're at a place like this and you start reducing inflammation, like you were just telling with that last story, you really start getting your life back, because moving around and doing very simple things that a lot of us take for granted become much easier. And all of a sudden it's like, wow, I can go up 2 flights of stairs that I couldn't do before. And I think that number one is getting that back is very important. I think the other thing, and Doug, I'll get your feedback on this, is that people start getting used to living with the pain, and they start getting used to living in a very decreased mobility state, and that becomes their normal baseline. And so I don't feel that in this day and age that's acceptable. I think it's just a lack of knowledge and information that there's technology out there, even something as simple as grounding. But, because the EE energy enhancement centers like Mobius here have gotten into so many places, it's very easy to just say, look, I'm going to make sure that 2 hours a week, I'm just going to go check in, lay down, and just, start working this inflammation out of the body. So, give me your thoughts and feedback on that.
No, that was very well said, because people start aging. We call aging. We think aging. We get older and the body starts to break down. Really, aging is more of an accumulation, right, in the body. And step by step, things start to happen to the body, and then you get adjusted to that new baseline that you just mentioned. And then the next thing happens, and it's a new baseline, and the next thing. And before you know it, you say, well, now I'm old. But the body is designed to rejuvenate so that you never do go through that process. Your body is meant to be continuously rejuvenating, regenerating, recalibrating when it's in a perfect state of balance or homeostasis. So when we're aware that we get adapted to a new baseline and start saying, no, I want to now move forward towards a new, healthier, more vibrant, more radiant baseline of health. And you open to that. The first state is being conscious and aware that aging is more of an illusion, and it's more of an accumulation.
I love that. I think exactly. And I think the main thing too, from hearing you talk, is that there's never a time where that's acceptable. It happens, right? But you can't get into I'm going to accept this as my process for aging, because clearly with the technology nowadays, things can be reversed. And that doesn't mean they always will, but that means that there's a very high likelihood that if something has gone sideways and you've gotten into that limited mobility state and you've gotten into that situation, that it can also be reversed. And I'll never forget, I was very good friends with a Army doctor down out of Orlando, Florida. And one of the things that she absolutely despised were canes and walkers, because she said basically what happens is that the minute you accept that as your reality and you do not rehab and you start letting your body deteriorate, that becomes your new baseline. And so she would absolutely flip out if she saw people using them. And that's not saying that they're not needed from time to time during times where there's dips in physical health and that. But the minute that became the baseline, or you see it a lot with people that wear knee braces and different things. Well, the longer you wear the knee brace, the more atrophy you're going to have, the more you're going to break it down. And that's not saying there isn't a time where it might be necessary, but that also means that you have to put focus on to regeneration. And I think, once again, we come back to the EE system, we come back to Mobius and giving the body what it needs to go back to homeostasis, return to good health, and recharge and rejuvenate.
Yeah, absolutely. And these things that we have as crutches, whether it be a knee brace that you're wearing for a year, the body starts to adapt to that, and the muscles start to, they stay in protection. So it's very important that as you use something as a tool for a temporary period of time, that you allow the body to go back. So a lot of the time somebody might have a session and then, let's say it was a knee issue, and they're walking, but they're still kind of walking funny. I just remind them, just try and walk the way that you remember you used to walk before the knee injury. Mm-hmm. They go, oh yeah, I always walk this way because I'm feeling like I'm protecting my knee. And as soon as they just switch and start walking normally, they won't need to put that knee brace on again.
It's funny too, because I at 58 years old, I've been through those different situations, but there was always something that could be done. Like I'm dealing a lot with people right now with sciatic pain. Well, get on a stationary bike, because when you have to leap forward, you open up those vertebrae and you get circulation in there. When you've got the knee issues, like I tore the meniscus, and my knee would fall out and whatever. But you know what? I got on bikes and I strengthened all the ligaments around the knee and strengthened it up to the point where that didn't happen anymore, and I was able to push through it. But, I think the other part of it is that as good as the technology is, and you touched on this originally with, it comes down to mentality. I actually had a lady today that was recovering from a broken hip, or her mom was. Maybe it was her, I can't remember. I talk to a lot of people every day. But that's the number one thing that's going to send you downhill, because once your body atrophies, once you stop working out, once you stop exercising, the muscle mass starts decreasing. And when the muscle mass decreases, so does your bone density. And when your bone density decreases, you become fragile, and you basically now are very susceptible to having injuries that are going to be very difficult to recover from. This actually was for a woman. It was for her mother, and I told her she needed to get one of those vibrational plates to put her feet on, because that'll help rebuild muscle tissue, which you need the muscle to rebuild the bone. But to come back to all that and circle back to this, you have these places like Mobius here that are available for you, that you can just plug your body in, rejuvenate, give it all that beneficial energy, that rejuvenation energy. And Doug, with that being said, let's finish up. I want you to, number one, I want you to tell us about where you're at, your location, a website, but I want you to kind of summarize and finish up some last things that you'd like to say before we wrap up this interview.
Yeah, well, I'll bookend it to what we were talking about, closing your eyes. So it's kind of like having a cell phone, right? That's charging wirelessly on the charger. You can still use your cell phone while you're charging it, but turning the cell phone off, like closing your eyes, it charges much more quicker and much more efficiently. So just going back to closing your eyes, which you can do even whenever, not when you're just in the EE system, but even taking time from your day and taking 20 minutes to close your eyes and focusing your energy, and open to receive the downloads and the transmissions that are available to you. Everything comes from within. I will tell you that we offer a nice jumpstart special. We call it the jumpstart. So you get your first 2-hour session at half price. But along with that, if you have the time and we have the space, we often give people an additional hour or two extra on the house, because we really want them to have an incredible first experience. And we find that having 3 or 4 hours that first time really helps. The body will go into a wonderful detoxification. We give people actually a detox formula to take home so that they can take a nice bath and then slip into bed and wake up feeling like $1 million the next day. It's incredible. So the Jump Start is something we're offering right now, 50% off. We're located in Innsbruck, which is on the west side of Richmond. It's in a nice, relaxing, wooded area that has 3 beautiful lakes across the street. So the energetic environment is conducive to relaxation and healing, and you can reach us through our website. All of our contact information is there. Our website is mobiusbe.com. That's MOBIUSBE, like bioenergy.com. The name of our studio is Mobius Bioenergy, and you can reach us through our website or by calling us for more personal touch at 804-408-1818, and we'll be happy to chat with you.
Awesome, Doug. Thank you so much for your time today. It's an absolute honor and privilege to be hanging out with you. Thank you for everything you're doing to get this technology out to the world, being sort of a light worker, if you will. And we're super grateful that you're here, and we're super grateful for your time today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sean. I really appreciate it. Have them only like as a treat. Make sure your water is clean. Make sure you have a good water filter. Okay? There's a lot of different water filters out there that will help eliminate a lot of toxins in water. It's a very, very important thing that you have clean water. Clean food, clean water, and most important, that you believe your belief system about the body. Believe that we were given these bodies. These are divine, magical bodies, capable of things way beyond what I could even speak about in this interview. And if you support that and know that you are absolutely perfect, and know that everything you need you have from within, and follow your body's own directives that you will get, especially if you connect. We call it meditation, but you just take a break for 20 minutes during the middle of the day and close your eyes and open to the messages that are there, and have a little notepad next to you and write down what you receive. Your body will tell you what it needs. And open yourself to those foods that you know when you eat them you feel really good afterwards. You don't need to study or learn courses about it. You don't need to learn all of these things and overwhelm yourself. Basic changes in your daily habits in small ways. When you receive the benefit, just like you would, and you have a very good workout at the gym, you're not going to run and get a bunch of ice cream. You don't want to reverse the effects. You want to stay on target as much as you can in a way that works for you. It's very basic. And then eventually at some point, you won't need the energy enhancement system or anything outside of you.
Right. So, it's interesting, Doug, we talk about that, and we are actually bodies of light, right? There's Kirlian photography, which was developed by a Russian scientist a very long time ago. Actually, when you take pictures of people, can measure and take pictures of their aura. And so there is a real fundamental part of that. You were talking earlier about how we're transmitting light energy, biophotonic light energy through the screens, and that we are actually light beings. And I think it puts us back in contact with our higher selves, which, is another benefit that goes with this. And I would say that very much like you would take care of a car and you would get the oil changed, and if you're driving an electric car, you would plug it in and charge the battery. The EE system is something that is good for overall body maintenance and maintaining the best optimal lifestyle using the best technology that's out there at this time. Now, you've had the center. How long have you been here now? How long has Mobius been here?
We opened on December 12th of 2023, so it's been about almost 9 months.
9 months, right. And I remember, we were in touch before it opened. It was a very exciting time, and it's still very exciting because it's such a great blessing for anybody that's near one of these to be able to get access to this technology. Now, we don't have to get too specific because we're gonna do some short videos, but do you want to just go over some of the things? You've seen some amazing things happen with people that have been coming in here, and I don't want to get too far into that because we could be here for hours, but maybe you could just summarize maybe 4, 5, 6 things, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that you've seen, and or general subject of a lot of people coming in with stiffness, soreness, and inflammation. We might even talk about some very specific things. We do have the book, which has just come out, that you've got actual testimonials here that have been in a published book from Jason Shirka, who's a real phenomenal person as well. But do you want to tell us some of the things that you've seen and some of the common things that you see with people that are using and getting access to the technology?
Yeah, and I could make it, we could focus maybe on a couple. And
sure.
One phenomenal, people have individual experiences, and they're going to vary from person to person. Regardless of your belief system, you're going to receive benefit. But when you can, let's say, interface in a way through self-love, opening to give yourself what you need, and just saying, I might not even know what that is, but I'm going to open to receive, the results can be phenomenal. So one good example is a woman who came in. Her name is Patsy. She is a master reflexologist. She's a teacher of reflexology and also licensed in craniosacral work. She hasn't been able to practice reflexology in the last 14 years because of many different comorbidities or conditions happening in her body simultaneously. And she has, by the way, given me permission to disclose these because she's basically told everybody about her experience. So she came to us at the end of December, shortly after we opened, with congestive heart failure. She had heart valve surgery, implant surgery. She had gout. She had neuropathy. She had shortness of breath, hard for her to walk or garden or to go up a flight of stairs. She had poor eyesight. She had essential tremor. She had one of the biggest things that was bothering her was arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. But the crown on all of this at the time she walked in was shingles. She was in immense pain from shingles, and she was escorted in with her friend. Saw her being escorted up the stairs, moving very slowly and wincing from pain. And after her first session, the pain from the shingles completely disappeared, and that was from one 4-hour session. And from that release of pain, that gave her a lot of motivation to come back consistently. Now, she came for several weeks, but she started to quickly feel the benefits. And she not only has, her cardiologist has told her he's never seen her heart in such great condition. She's avoided having to have a second surgery, an implant surgery as well. She can walk up a flight of stairs. You just notice these things. You don't realize, she just going up her sister's stairs and realized, I just went up 2 flights of stairs, didn't have to stop. I have tremendous energy. People stop me in the streets. My neighbors are saying, Patsy, you look radiant, what's going on? Her hands, the arthritis in her hands has now been diminished so much so that she has returned back to her love of reflexology. She is actually now our reflexologist here at the center. It's an amazing story that she yells from the rooftops to everybody. Her neuropathy has gone away. So she had pain in her legs and loss of feeling. She had cold feet at night. One of the first things that happened is her feet warmed up after her maybe second session. So these things can happen spontaneously. But also, she had a very open heart to receive the healing, and also to let go of what it is that no longer served her, and stop some of the habits that she was doing one by one, little by little.